Hold everything. I found a new mystery for us to explore.
Great! What is it?
It's called the Mystery God of the North Pole.
Sorry to disappoint you, Shag, but that mystery was solved long ago.
Who cracked that case?
I don't know all the details, but a friend of mine does. Shaggy, meet my friend Tina, who's a whiz at history, geography, people, and mysteries.
Hi, Tina.
Tina, fill Shaggy in on the mystery god of the North Pole.
I'll be glad to tell you what I know. Men attempted to get to the North Pole as far back as the year 1527. Many countries sent out explorers, but century after century, no one made it all the way. Hundreds died trying.
I didn't know that, Tina.
Despite those discouraging facts, in 1886, Lieutenant Robert E. Peary decided that he would try to make it to the North Pole. He chose a crew of brave men, including Matthew Henson, a black man. Henson remained with Peary longer than anyone else, over 20 years.
This Henson fellow must have been an interesting person.
Yeah, Tina, do you know anything about him?
As a matter of fact, Henson plays a key role in the mystery.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Matt Henson went to sea when he was just 9 years old.
Wow.
Captain Childs, a merchant sea captain, let Henson join his crew as a cabin boy. The captain treated Henson almost like a son. He taught him how to read and write and how to be a good seaman. Captain Childs died when Henson was 18, and Henson left the sea. He found a job as a clerk in a clothing store. It was there he met Peary. Lieutenant Peary needed a hard worker and asked Henson to join him on an expedition. The first trip north in 1881 was a hard one. The waters were icy and dangerous. While making its way through the treacherous seas, the ship was hit by a large cake of ice. The vessel jerked and Peary fell hard and broke his leg.
Oh, no.
Oh, terrible.
The crew thought the accident meant they would have to return home, but Peary was determined. He told the crew that they would stay until his leg healed enough that they could make a trip across the ice. During the wait, Henson made friends with the Eskimos. He was the least educated man on the ship, yet he was the only one to master the Eskimo language.
Wow. Right, Tina.
Henson was the only crew member that realized the Eskimos had the answers to surviving in the cold. They showed him how to build an igloo. The women taught Henson how they made their warm fur clothing. They stretched the fur with their teeth before sewing it.
Boy, I wouldn't like doing that.
They showed him how to drive a team of dogs, which isn't as easy as it looks.
I'll bet.
We could ask Scoob. He would know.
They taught him that frostbite could be alleviated by placing the affected area against the flesh of another person. The Eskimos honored Henson by letting him adopt a little Eskimo boy. Henson taught his little boy how to read and write.
That's very important.
Peary was able to use the knowledge that Henson had gained from the Eskimos. He put Henson in charge of making the sledges that were needed to explore Greenland. Peary and Henson's second trip north was very important. Peary learned that Greenland was an island that did not run clear to the pole. Before accomplishing his goal, Peary had to return several more times to the north. Each trip he took his valuable assistant. Peary relied upon Henson to be his spokesman with the Eskimos.
Sort of a diplomat, huh?
But the Eskimos were afraid to make the trip to the pole.
Why?
Well, I'll bet I know. They were afraid of the mystery god.
Right. The Eskimos believed there was an evil mystery god at the North Pole who would kill anybody who came on his property. Peary couldn't even use presents to get the Eskimos to go. Finally, he asked Henson to try and talk the Eskimos into joining him.
But what could he say, Tina? Maybe there really was a mean god up there.
Henson just told the Eskimos not to worry, that Peary could deal with any problems.
That was smart. He didn't try to talk the Eskimos out of their god.
Was Peary able to overcome the mystery god?
Hold on, I'm coming to that. For 18 years, Perry and Henson kept trying to make it to the North Pole.
Oh boy, do you think it was really worth it?
They knew it was. In 1908, they set sail on what was to be their last voyage north. On this last trip, they were more prepared than ever. They had plenty of provisions and the best crew possible. But there was something else that made it almost unbearably exciting.
Oh boy, what is it?
None of the 7 crew members knew who would be chosen to join Perry on the last leg to the pole.
They didn't.
Each was to be in command of 2 Eskimos and 24 dogs, plus enough food to feed the entire 7 parties for 5 days.
Only 5 days?
Everyone started out together.
I'd be scared.
One party at a time would feed the rest and then return to camp. Perry would send back the weakest man. When they started for the pole, they were 400 miles away. Just imagine, 400 miles of trekking through freezing weather.
Wow, we'd never make it, Shaggy.
Walking through snow that seemed like granulated sugar. They got so thirsty for good cold water.
Why didn't they just eat the snow?
Oh no, to have eaten snow would have meant instant death. Snow would have reduced their body heat. They drank hot tea. Finally, on April 1st, 1909, the commander told Henson that his party would accompany him on the final leg to the pole.
Wow, I'll bet Henson must have really been happy.
Yes, but Henson almost didn't get to fulfill his dream. On the last hike, he slipped into some icy water and nearly drowned.
Oh, how terrible.
Before he even had a chance to cry out, Uta, his faithful Eskimo friend, grabbed him and pulled him out.
Faithful friend just like Scoob and Shag.
So because of a friend, Henson was able to be with Perry on April 6, 1909. That day they reached the goal of men for centuries, the North Pole.
Wow, what a story, Tina.
Henson saw Perry take a small package from inside his clothing and open it. It was the American flag which Mrs. Perry had sewn. Then, as Perry photographed the event, Henson planted the stars and stripes at the North Pole. At long last, Perry's expedition accomplished what men had failed at for centuries.
Wow. Didn't the mystery god exist after all?
Of course not, Shaggy. He was just a legend.
Not exactly, Velma. You must remember that for centuries the Eskimos had watched as men returned from the north discouraged, hurt, and defeated. There was a mystery god at the North Pole, known as the climate and freezing conditions. It took men over 500 years to discover all the clues to solve the mystery.
From what you've said, I would think that Henson was a good detective. He was the one who listened and learned from the Eskimos.
Yes, it's safe to say that the mystery of the North Pole was solved through the help of Matthew A. Henson.